Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to go a little bit off topic. So, as you know, I run a composting channel here on YouTube, and I put out lots of video, sometimes one a week, sometimes multiple a week, sometimes multiple days in a row. But what I want to talk about really is how you can make your own channel. And it doesn't have to be complicated. When I started, I had zero lighting, I only had one camera, and I didn't have any way to edit my videos. I started with recording myself on the floor and then literally panning down to the item that I was going to, do my review on or, talk about. And that's how I did it. I had a lot of complaints on those videos, but they did start me on this process. So, I had, as I said, no lighting. The only light I had actually was this light right here, which is a rigid, just click light. It's just a standard click light right there. You can see that's all it is. And that's all I had for lighting. It was really, really poor lighting. A lot of people complained. I eventually moved forward and bought some cheap shop lights that I have hanging on my ceiling here. And then I eventually moved forward from that and I bought another light that I can hang directly over everything. So I bought this light right here, this plastic just plug-in light. And I had this in my basement and I would move it around to wherever I needed it. Then eventually I even upgraded from that and I got a different light that was like one of those garage lights where you could, I could move that around, but it was a little bit harder because it had, it was bigger. But I would hang it from my ceiling and wherever I needed it to be or attach it to my tripod. And that was my way of moving forward. Now, I'm currently on these newer lights that you can see here, and they work incredibly well. This was a gift from my sister. I was looking for lighting and I had it on my wish list, and this is what she bought me because she knew that this channel meant so much to me. And I really wanted to give some great lighting, and I can adjust the lighting how I need it. And I can adjust the way it's angled, and I can also make sure that I'm getting both sides because there's two lights in the system. So it's been one of those things that's really worked well for me is this lighting setup that I have. It's taken a while to get there. It took me years. I mean, it's been 6 or 7 years that I've been making videos, maybe 8 now. I'm getting close to a decade there, I think. But it's been one of those things where I've slowly just added more and more light to my videos and to try to make it better. Now, I'm a very different channel than a lot of others. I don't have dramatic lighting because I really want to make sure that you can see inside my bins. And that's really been the key, and that's why I have the lights turned up typically to 100% when I'm recording. And I also typically have the white balance turned up a little bit high at around 4,000 Kelvin, so that way it's a little bit brighter white instead of a toned down version. So I'm hoping that works well, and then the camera tends to adjust by itself. Now that is the next thing I want to talk about are cameras. And this is something where I started off, I have to admit, with a pretty good camera here. I had a Panasonic Camcorder. And as you can see here, this thing is a 4K camcorder. It worked really well. And actually it was a great camcorder to start, and I did like using it. The quality was good, but I started to find that as I zoomed in, if I wanted to let me zoom in on this object a little bit, it really had some issues. It didn't have the detail or the depth, and the bit rate was a little bit low. And that's when I upgraded to a Canon 90D. Now this is the first upgrade I bought. It was a real 4K camcorder or camera where it has that ability to really record some high quality pictures. And I used that for a little bit, and then I quickly afterwards bought the Fujifilm. And this is the X-T4, and I like this one because it had first of all, it was a smaller form factor. It was mirrorless. I could plug it in, whereas I couldn't do that with the 90D. It had a USB-C plug, so I could plug it in and just run it off of a battery back instead of having to have a custom battery that I had to charge all the time. It also had the ability to record in 60 frames per second instead of 30. And this would mean that as I'm moving something around, if I'm moving a little too fast, it's gonna fix that. It's gonna make it where I can slow it down, or at least it's not gonna be blurry for everybody. So I kind of did that to help with that, to get rid of some of that motion blur, because I felt that was important for everyone. Now, unfortunately, I was hoping that my 90D could become my time-lapse camera, and I did use that for a couple time-lapse videos, and I found it to be very subpar for that role. And I'm now using the Fujifilm that I was hoping to use for video as my time-lapse camera. It does work well, and then with my time-lapse system, I actually have a flash, and this flash really does help the system be much brighter. And that's why I actually use the Fujifilm. That 90D does not have any way to sync up with that flash unless I buy another wireless transmitter and another battery that I have to get for it. And it just is too much equipment to really manage it and feel comfortable with it just working for long periods of time. Whereas the Fujifilm, I have running for 80,000 photos straight without ever stopping it. I can, hot swap the memory cards out of it, which I can't do on the 90D. I can, just leave it plugged in, which the 90D, I have a battery plug for it, and it seems to only last about 10 days before it wears out. So there's just a lot of things that I really liked about this Fujifilm camera, which is why I upgraded to it. It is on the pricier side, but I'm also sort of a photographer on the side as well, which is why I had a lot of these cameras to start. But, that's the reason why I had them, is I also have kids too. So there's a lot of reasons for me to have them. It's not just for my composting, but, they are primarily used for that now. Unfortunately, as my kids have gotten older, cell phones are now the primary cameras, and they don't like their photos taken anyhow. So it's kind of changed. But with that, the last thing I want to talk about, and this is a key thing, is staging. I have a lot of different ways to stage my items than I did in the past. In my first videos, you'd see me laying on the floor, and I'd get up and get behind the camera and then move the camera down, and I had everything sitting on the floor. I didn't have any tables. I slowly built a shelf that's above one of my bins, and I was using that. And then I eventually even started using a folding table that I had for working, woodworking, and I put a big table on top of that, so that way I can actually set up and have my bins sort of centered in the room. I can move around them easily. And then, that allowed me to kind of get a better view of the bins, but also maneuver the lighting where I wanted it. Instead of having it maybe just on top, I could have it to the sides. And then the last thing that I did is, and this was required for my Verma bags really, and my Urban Worm bag. I have them up against the wall, and that is, I have the tripod for my camera, but I also have a tripod that is a little folding tripod that can attach to the wood beams you see behind me in all my videos. So those beams, I have this little thing that clamps on, and it can hold the camera, and I can shoot straight down, and that way I don't have the camera off to the side or right behind me or like in front of me, so I can recording and I'm trying to move my hands around. And I'd been doing some of that in the past, and it was not very convenient. So this is just some of the equipment that I have. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm forgetting, but I don't think so. A lot of this has been just what I have in the basement to start with, but eventually it migrated into more expensive equipment as I got money from my channel, about $1,000 a year or so. I decided to upgrade this equipment so I can make better videos. This is money that's really sort of, for me, it's free money. It's not something that's part of my job. I do have a job. That's what pays for everything else. This is more of a hobby to me that I really enjoy, and I've been able to make money doing it, which means I just get to spend more time with this hobby. That's allowed me to buy these African night crawlers, the European night crawlers. I purchased the Urban Worm bag, and then I got the Verma bag for free from Tom, and then they sent me another Urban Worm bag to also review. It's just been something where this has allowed me to do this channel. But I also want to encourage other people, if you have ideas and things that you want to cover, you don't need this expensive equipment to start. You can start, with your cell phone. I mean, I could have done that if I had a better phone at the time. Mine didn't do very good video, so I had to use a camcorder. Luckily, I had one. I had this one for my kids, because I was recording them and I wanted to take good video of them. So I'm not really here to say don't do this. I'm here to say do this. If you have a goal, try it out. Try YouTube. It takes a while. When I first started, you did not need the requirements to earn money. You do now. You have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time a year, I think. You can do it though if you slowly build. It takes time and it takes effort, but you can. And this can be fun. I don't want to say it's a side hustle, but if it's a hobby that you enjoy, it might be worth taking video of it and putting it out there so other people can learn from you. And I hope other people have learned from me and are able to grow with this as well. And I'm glad that other people have also taken up this as a hobby for composting, where they're making videos. And they are able to get other people involved in this process. And I'm glad that we're a positive community that helps each other out. If I look at a lot of other videos that other people put out in this composting community, and they look at my videos, I know, because they comment on them. I have to admit, I'm not as good at commenting. Not my thing. I don't comment on a lot of stuff to begin with. I typically only respond to my own videos, but I do comment when I see something I like, or at least I try to. So thank you for watching. If you have any other questions about my equipment that I have, or any other questions about what I'm doing, please leave a comment down below, and I will try to get back to you as fast as I can. So thank you for watching, and keep on composting.